Hello and welcome to the Introduction to OS33 Workplace for Existing Partners. My name is Frank DiBenedetto. I am the President and Chief Technology Advisor for Two River Technology Group. And what I'd like to do today is to show you this new OS33 Workplace. Workplace has actually been available for a little over a year now. However, some of the features weren't completely built out, so I didn't feel that the timing was right to introduce it to our existing partners. Many of our partners have been with us and on OS33 for anywhere from 3 to 4 years now. So some of them are used to going into the old portal. This portal is the new way to go in. So let's take a look. But first, let's talk about our agenda. So first and foremost, I want to give you an introduction to Workplace. I'm going to show you what it looks like. We're going to talk about the old OS33 WebTop versus the new OS33 Workplace application. We're going to take a look at the layout of OS33 Workplace. We're going to discuss Workplace websites, which is the website single sign-on feature. We're going to discuss the Web File Manager and some of the features that are available inside of that. We'll talk about global search. Next, we will discuss the Workplace desktop app for both PC and Mac. And lastly, we'll talk about the mobile app, which is available for both iPhone and Android mobile devices. And then finally, we'll get to the next steps, and we'll talk about what you can do, or what we could do, to get you using the new Workplace application and or website. So without further ado, let's step right into the introduction. Here we are on the traditional OS33 WebTop, right? This was considered in the past a web-based desktop, and for anybody who has been on OS33 for probably more than 6 months with us, this is probably the view that you're used to. As you'll notice, most of the screen was dedicated to these things called gadgets. Over time, some of these gadgets stopped working. These are actually developed and maintained by Google, not OS33. So as these third-party gadgets reached their end of life, some of them started to show as no longer being in production. A couple people have questioned. I think probably the one that jumps out to me was a to-do list at one time. It used to show on here, but now it no longer works. Most of the screen here is not devoted to the business side of things. You'll notice over on the left-hand side, these are where the programs I had organized and my shortcuts and whatnot. There was also a Cloud File Manager that exists on a tab and looked something like this. What I want to show you real quick, however, is what the new Workplace desktop looks like. So you'll notice mine at the top says Test Drive the New Workplace. I'm going to simply click on that. And what that's going to do is going to bring me over to the New Workplace. A little more streamlined. I'm going to tab back over to here to show you what that one looked like. And then back over here to show you what this one looks like. A few things that you'll notice are it has removed all the gadgets. So there's no more weather, there's no more clock, there's no more news, things of that nature. While those were fun creature comforts, they really just took up a bunch of real estate on the web top, and the new Workplace is really devoted a little bit more towards, or I should say 100% towards business use. So let me break down real quick what the real estate looks like here. Right now, it's kind of broken down into 3 main sections. One of the sections is the hosted apps. So these are all my programs that I would click on to launch traditionally. Everybody knows how this works. Clicked on the app, first app launches, click on another one, second and subsequent apps launch more quickly. Again, I'm just going to tab back over here. I've got some things kind of broken down into some folders. So you could see I had Access and Excel and Outlook, PowerPoint Publisher, etc. over here, Adobe Reader. And then if I come back over here, everything's listed. It's a little bit more streamlined, a little bit tinier. I've got the ability, if I hit Edit, to click the star next to it. So if I click on the star next to Access 2016, what you'll notice is now it happens to be underneath the Favorites section. I can click on this while they're shaking, and I can drag these around to reorder these in whatever order I want. If I want to actually remove a favorite, I can click the X and we're complete. I hit done, this brings it up, and that becomes the other section here that I wanted to call your attention to is favorites, right? So it makes sense to hit edit and to click on anything here that you're going to use frequently. It kind of displays it a little more front and center for you. You can also pull from this websites column. So again, let's tab back over to the old workplace, or I should say the old web top. And I had all of my apps listed under SaaS, Software as a Service, and you can see they're all listed here. There's really no little icons associated with them anymore. But if we come back to this view, a little bit cleaner and neater, you can see there's some icons here. You do have the ability to click star. For anybody that's curious and wondering, what do these do? Let's click on EchoSign as an example. If I click on that, it's going to open up another tab. It's going to feed my username and my very long, complex password that I don't even know. It's going to log me straight into that application. So these are your single sign-on websites that you maintain the credentials for. You'll notice that you can now see who or what the username is underneath there, so you can kind of get a glimpse of which account it is. Nonetheless, both your hosted apps and your software as a service apps are all available for you to mark off as a favorite. If I click on Amazon, Amazon shows up over here. All right, so that's the basics. The next thing that I want to draw your attention to is the web-based file manager. Now, in order to kind of show a good comparison, what I want to do first is click on the regular file manager that you're traditionally using. This is the one that would be consistent with a Windows file manager. It's still available, and there are still will be times that you'll use this. However, I want to show you the web version of this. So here is our file manager. Most of you are used to this right now, where you can go in to either the public or the groups or your Y drive, right? Or access the local drives if you want. But let's take a look what happens when we go to the web-based file manager. So right from our workplace screen, what we'll do is click on Files. And this is going to bring us into the same structure that we're used to. Again, public, right? That's our X drive. It just doesn't have the X in front of it. Groups, and then Frank, which in this case happens to be the Y drive. So if I click on public, now what it will do is going to take me into the web-based view of this. I'll click on, say, AppRiver. And then once we're in here, you'll notice that we have all the different files. And I'm going to kind of follow along over on this side too, just so we can see that this is the same data no matter what way we're looking at it. So you'll see here, Cipher Post Outlook plugin, co-branding, these folders exist here, allowing AppRiver Secure Type for Office 365. They all exist. If I click on this Word document right here, what it's going to do, it's going to immediately open it up in the Word Online Viewer. Do you see how fast that was? Let's close that one up. Let's click on another one. We'll click on the second one down. So I click on it, and it immediately opens up. Now, it's in Word Online, which means you can actually edit the file right in here if you'd like to. However, if you're more of a traditionalist like myself, I want to use the full version of Word. You see all the way down here at the very bottom, it's kind of hidden, it says Edit. If I click on that, what this is going to do is open up the full version of Word and allow us to edit it. So it gives you the best of both worlds. You can view it in the viewer here very quickly. If this is all you need to do is view the file, this is fine. Then we have the ability to click Edit if we wanted to, and actually edit it in the full version of Microsoft Word. So I'm going to close that up. Let's go back here. PDFs work the same way. We click on the PDF. This opens up in the PDF viewer. So instead of having to go into Adobe Acrobat and edit this or open it up in the full program, you now have the ability to do this right within the viewer here. So we'll close that up. Let's see, what else can we show you? History. Oh, this is a cool one. So if we're in this AppRiver folder, all right, we have the ability to click on the View History button at the top. So if we click on that, it takes a couple seconds for it to populate, but it's going to show us everything that went on in this folder with all of the files. So a use case would be when somebody calls our office and says, hey, there's a file missing, can you restore it? And we restore it, but the next question is always, what happened to the file? Where did it go? And it beforehand, forensically, it was a little difficult for us to tell you that. So we could solve the problem, but we couldn't tell you how the problem happened. In this case, what you can see right now is that there's a history, and it's not just for myself, but for everything here. So I could see that this folder was, a new folder was created by Brian at 8:13 in the morning on June 5th, and then it was renamed from new folder to CipherPost Outlook plugin. I could see where it's located. And you can work your way down. You can see that I updated this particular file. I moved this file. I renamed this folder. I created a folder, and so on down the line. So you actually have all the forensic evidence that you need from within this folder here to see everything that has gone on with files. Files that are deleted or moved, we can also filter. So if I was to click this box, now it's only going to show me any history that shows anything that was deleted or moved. So we can answer the question, what happened to my file or to my folder? Close that out. Another feature that we should talk about is the ability to create a favorite out of a folder. So you'll notice over here that if we go back to the main screen, that I have some favorite folders, and if I go to the main screen, those favorite folders are actually shown prominently down here. These are folders that I'm in all of the time. Discovery Photos, OS33, and Weekly Meetings. These are folders that I'm often in. So I can simply click on that. It takes me directly into the location where the files are. Another thing that you may notice is that we have the ability to share files. And this is an awesome feature. So if we were to click on Share next to any one of these files, you'll see that we're given three options: public, tracked, and private. Let me explain how these work. So if we click on public, what this is going to do is create a link for us. And that link can be clicked on by anybody from the outside world. Again, that's why it says public, without any kind of security, which means anybody could access that file. It's probably not the best idea to do a public link, however, it does exist. The second option, which is tracked, if we click on this one builds us the link, and then we can copy it. Now, when the end user gets this link, what they're going to see is an email with the link in it. They click it, and it's going to ask them to put their mobile number in there. When they put their mobile number in, it'll text them a code. They enter the code, and then they can access the file. Now, a couple things happen here. Number one is we could track what happens with the file. It gives us good history, and we'll take a look at an example of some of the history in a second. Number two, it means that we can send large files over the internet, because if you think about it, the only thing that's in our email is a link, right? So if you have a really large PDF or set of drawings or other documents that are a little bit too big to email, then what you can do is simply click Share, copy the link, and send the link, right? The link is there's nothing. There's no attachment, right? So we're not sending it across the internet. It's also more secure, right? We are not taking an important document and just shipping it across the internet now. We're actually only sending a link, and we're requiring some level of security. Now, private is the ultimate, where in this case, we have to put in the mobile number of the person we're sending it to. So I have to know the mobile number of my recipient. When they receive the email and click the link, they have to put in a number that matches one of the numbers in this list. That means only people with the numbers in this list can access the file. So this email could get forwarded around. However, people can't get to it unless their number's in the list. And obviously that is very, very secure. Now, I happen to have a couple of things that look like they were already shared. And you can tell because you can see the little link here, or what you can do is you can click on the Shared Files link in the upper left-hand corner. And I could see here there's a whole bunch of stuff that has been shared. So if I come in here and let's see, which one can we tick? Let me find one that I believe is shared legitimately. We could pick the cybersecurity slide deck. This is a good example. So if I click on where it says linked and I say view activity, all right, now I could see what happened. So we could see here in the history that I, on May 15th at 9:48 a.m., shared this file from this IP address that links back to Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey, from a Windows 10 computer running Firefox. At 9:59 a.m., this file was viewed by somebody who is in Williston, Vermont, from this IP address on Chrome on a Windows 10 computer. Then, at 9:59:38, they downloaded this file using this mobile phone number, again, from this location, this IP on this computer. So if you ever share a file with somebody and they say, oh, I never got it, you can show proof. Well, I can see here that somebody at this time, date, from this computer and IP and this phone number actually accessed and then downloaded the file. This provides really, really good forensics if you ever needed some kind of audit trail for the financial services world or legal or accounting. This is amazing. Close all that out. Go back. Okay. Any files or any folders, I'm sorry, that we click a star next to, again, shows up as a favorite over here. You can click activity if you wanted that. Let me go back to the main screen for a second. Probably shortly after we put this webinar recording out there, this is going to change a little bit. I actually was on a roadmap call with OS33 recently, and the real estate that you see here is going to change just slightly in the future. They're actually going to be putting the favorites, the folders, and also files prominently on the main screen here. So instead of having every app listed and every website, what you're going to see more of is the favorites that you starred. It's going to put your shortcuts there. It's also going to put your recent files. So if we click on that right now, you notice we had to click and kind of like drill out to it, and it shows us the recent files. This is going to be displayed on the main screen. So they're rearranging it just slightly to make this a little bit more intuitive and to make it easier to navigate through your busy workday. Another awesome feature here has to do with the search. So you'll notice right here, I'm going to go back again to show you where I went. So from the main screen, you'll notice a little rocket ship. And if I was to search for App River here, okay, it's going to pull up everything, not only folders, but files, and even websites you'll see up here if it had that the name match in it. So if we happen to click on that particular file, what it does, it takes us straight over to the file. Again, I can simply click on it and view it and gain access to everything just the way we showed it before. All right, let's close out of here. And now let's take a look at the mobile app. I want to show you how, through the use of the Workplace app on the phone, that you could see every one of these files. Here we are. I have my iPhone screen up right now, concurrent with the Workplace app on the left-hand side. And what you could see here is that I have downloaded and I've installed the Workplace program. So let me pull that open. It's actually going to use my face to log in. And what you'll notice here is the same file and folder structure that we have within the traditional OS33 file manager or the web version of it. So if we go to public, here's all of our public files and folders. If we were to go to groups, here's all of our groups, files, and folders. And then, of course, under where it says Frank, that would be my personal stuff. You'll also notice before we talked about the favorite folders. We happen to jump into the one for OS33, and that cascades right down to the phone. So you'll see I have all the files at my fingertips. So think about the power of this, all right? If you're in the field, if you're at court, or if you're just at home or really at lunch or anywhere, you've got all of your OS33 files and folders right at your fingertips. And let me give you an example here. We've been using this App River folder under public. So I'm going to go to public, right? And I'm going to scroll down to the App River folder. And you're going to notice on the right-hand side that the files are identical to the files that we see on the left-hand side. So we've been using that App River Spam Lab instructions file, as our example. So I'm going to click on that, and what you'll see on the right-hand side here is the file that we've been looking at as our example throughout this presentation. I can zoom in on it, and again, this is on the iPhone, but it works the same way with an Android or even on an iPad. You can put the app on there as well. So now at your fingertips, you have access to all the files. So let's pretend we're at lunch and you're having a business conversation, and the person's or you are talking about a file. So let me pull that up real quick. What often happens next is the person says, "Can you send that to me?" So here's what's really cool. You see the share button down in the lower right-hand corner? If I tap it, what this is going to do is say, "Oh, you want to send a link?" So if I hit send a link, and I say, "Oh, let's send it in a message," all right? Now it creates the link. Now I think this file already had a link created, so it didn't give me the choices of whether I wanted to send it as public, private, or tracked. But if I click cancel, let's go back. Let's find a different file here that has not already been sent. Let's pick, I don't know, let's do this one here, Microsoft's New Business Apps. If I hit share here, now you'll see that I have the choices. So if I say, yeah, I want it to be tracked, it creates a link for me. And then I could either email it or text it. So a lot of times if I'm on my phone, I'll text it. So the person, you'll see that I'm going to type in whoever's name in the to field. You'll see that link has already been built. And when I'm done, I could hit send, and away it would go. Let me click cancel here. The other thing that I wanted to do while we're in the app is I want to log out real quick. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit sign out. I don't think we have anything open. That's fine. Click sign out. And what this is going to do, it's going to bring me back to the main login screen. We're going to close our other screens out. So for those people that are using two-factor authentication, what you'll notice here is how this works. So let me type in my username real quick. And two-factor, as you know, it's something you know and something you have, right? So something I know is my password, but something I have is what's on the phone. So what you should see on the phone here in a second or two is an approve or deny. You see that down here? And it says you want to allow that. I'm going to hit approve on my phone, and then it's going to log me into the Workplace app. So that's our implementation of two-factor authentication. We always get the question, well, what happens if I don't have a good mobile signal? What happens if I don't get that request on my phone? No problem. You'll see right here where it says offline code. I could tap that, and you see there's a number. This will regenerate every about 45 to 60 seconds or so. This number would change. So if you're on an airplane and you don't have any cell phone signal, or if you just happen to be in an area of poor reception, when you go to log in, of course, it's going to ask you for the code. If you simply can click on offline, you could type it in there. So we have both bases covered. If you're online, you just click approve, or if for some reason your phone is offline, it doesn't have good signal, we can come in there and grab that as well. The last thing that I'd like to do is actually show you the Workplace application. So this application right here was sitting in my system tray at the very bottom of the computer. When I open it up, what it's going to do is going to mimic exactly what we see in the web version. So you see all of my favorites. You can see right here, ConnectWise, Excel, Quicken, ConnectWise, Excel, and Quicken. It actually shows it all here. Below that, it shows all applications. So all applications is simply a conglomerate of the hosted apps and the websites, and those are all listed down here at the bottom. I'm going to actually close out of my website. And so today, most of you are used to going to os33.net and then typing in your username and your password and then getting to the web top. Well, wouldn't it be great to just be able to simply click on the Workplace app that's always running? And now, let's say I click on Microsoft Word, this is going to launch Word right from here. So you no longer have to go to the website first. You can get to all of your programs and files directly from within the Workplace application that we can install. There's a version for the Mac and there's a version for the PC. It also works with the websites too. If you click on those, it would open them up in the web. Another nice thing is it does have the search bar. So continuing with our theme, if I was to type in AppRiver here, it does the same exact thing. It would bring me right over to the AppRiver program. So if I click on it, in this case, it's going to launch Word and open it up there. I could also say I want to share from within here if I need to do that, and I could also show it in a folder. Let's go back real quick. Another thing that we can do, and this eliminates the need to even log into the web page. If you already have Workplace authenticated and it's sitting down here and you wanted to go to the website, just simply click here on Visit Workplace Web App. When you do that, this opens up the Workplace page, and you're already logged in because we've already authenticated in the Workplace app. So how easy is that? So now if you actually need to get to it, it takes you straight in, and it's just a more efficient way to actually work. And the last thing that I want to show you is this here, Open Workplace Folder. The Workplace folder, this is on the local computer. So if I was to go to this PC, you'll notice I have my local C drive, but I have now an S drive. And so this is useful for people maybe who have a local copy of Office and don't really need application deployment, but they're just going to be in and out of the Word apps. What you could do is simply come into here. You can go to AppRiver like we've been doing before, and we can double click on it. And now what this is doing is going to launch a local copy of Word, and it opens up the file here. That might be confusing for some people. Suffice to say, what this is doing is it's giving you the ability to access files in the cloud from the local computer. We already know you can access files in the cloud from app-based applications, or I'm sorry, web-based applications or cloud-based applications. In this case, we're simply allowing you to use a local copy of Office and be able to get to your files up in the cloud. Couple things in terms of roadmap. We already talked about a little bit of a modification to what you see here. Another feature coming down the line is Workplace websites. So right now we just have a simple list of websites. In the near future, what you're going to be able to do is when you go to a website and you log in to it, it will ask you, would you like to add this to your OS-33 workplace? And if you decide yes, you would like to do it, it'll automatically add it right into the screen over here. In addition, you can go in there and you'll be able to share this to somebody. So if you have other people in your organization whom you want to give access to the credentials that you just stored, you can do that quite simply. If you're the one that created the link, then you'll also be the one that can update the password. So the security cascades down. So if you create the link, you can update the password, but anybody you shared it to can't see the password and they can't update it. Also included in that feature is going to be a password generator. So if you happen to be on a website and you're creating a username and password for, say, a new account for something, instead of having to default to some sort of password that involves the kids' names or the dog's name, you can actually generate a complex password with the password generator and then store the link right under here in Workplace websites. That's due, I'm being told, before the end of the summer. The ability to also share folders out, not just the files which we looked at, but to share folders. So think Dropbox, where you want to work collaboratively with some other people. So you could share a folder. What will happen is they will have to authenticate to a page that looks similar to the Workplace page, and then they'll be able to access that folder. They can upload files depending on the permissions that you give them. So think of like expanded Dropbox features. That's coming down the line shortly. And so there's several other things that are in the works, but we'll leave it for future webinars. We can reveal them. We do plan on doing some reveal webinars as new features become available, and we'll make the recording and send those out to you. So what are the next steps? How do you get started? Let's go back real quick. I'm going to, from the new Workplace, I have the ability to get back to the classic web top. I'm going to do that real quick because I want to show you what potentially the next step is. What we can do on a company-by-company basis is I can turn on the button to test drive the new Workplace. What this simply means is that when your end users at your company log into their traditional Workplace, or I should say the web top, they have the ability to say, hey, I want to try the new workplace, and they can click on it. If they click on it, they'll simply be taken over to it. Now, if panic ensues and you're one of the people that absolutely hates change and you can't quite embrace this new look and feel, you can simply click where it shows your name and say switch to the classic web top, and it'll put you back. So for right now, you're always going to default to the old page. We can turn on the test drive button, which we'll likely do for all the companies as soon as we have a bunch of people watching this recorded webinar. And then what we can do on a company-by-company basis, when enough people are comfortable with this, we can default it to always go to the new workplace page. So you'd still log in on the same location that you always do, os33.net. However, when you log in, it'll bring you to the new page, not the old. Again, if you hate it, you can simply go and say switch to the classic web top and work your way back. However, eventually what you're going to find is that all of the new features are in the new web top and not in the new workplace app and not in the old web top. So you'll probably over time find yourself using the new one more and more, especially as all the new features come into place. I want to thank you for your time watching this webinar. If anybody tried to get on the original webinar, we had some technical difficulties. It happens to even us at Two River Tech. So we're hoping that this recording provides better availability for everybody to watch at their convenience. Thanks again for your time, and look forward to setting this up on a trial basis, and then of course we'll be releasing future webinars when new features come down the line. Thanks again.